Okay, now we're going to start on solve proportions practice. I'm going to work the first 5 with you, then you'll finish the worksheet, get it checked, and then move on to the quiz about solving proportions. Okay, in order to solve a proportion is when you have 2 fractions that are equal to each other. Really cool thing about fractions, if these 2 fractions are equal, then there's one thing that has to happen, always. If these 2 fractions are equal, then if you cross multiply, if you multiply the top of this fraction times the bottom of that fraction, you're going to get the same answer as if you multiply the bottom of the first fraction times the top of the second. Well, that's going to help us figure out this missing number right here. What number would have to go here to make these 2 fractions equal? So what we need to find out first is, okay, what do I get when I multiply? If I multiply the 2 numbers that are diagonal from each other, multiply 10 times 60 on the calculator, 10 times 60, and get an answer, 10 times 60 equals 600, then what that tells me is that 15 times that number also has to equal 600. So 15 times some number has to equal 600. Well, from what I know about multiply and divide are reverse operations. We call them inverse operations. So if 15 times something equals 600, then 600 divided by 15 will tell me what that number is. Well, I already have the 600 in my calculator. It's right here. I did 10 times 60 and got 600. Now I'm going to take the 600 and divide by 15. I don't even have to type the 600 again. All I have to do is hit the divided by sign, and over here it says answer. That means the answer I just got in the last problem. The answer divided by 15. And when I do answer divided by 15, it tells me that the question mark is going to equal 40. So now let's try it. If I put a 40 right here where this question mark is, let's see if I get 600 both ways. I already multiplied 10 times 60 and I got 600. Now let's multiply 15 times 40 and check and see, does that give you 600? And it does. So that tells me that 40 is the right number to go in that spot. So let's try the next one. 1 times 39 tells me what I'm trying to get. 1 times 39 equals 39. So it has to equal 39 this way, and it has to equal 39 this way. So if I do 39 divided by 13, I'm going to get the question mark equals 3. Next problem, I'm going to multiply diagonals. So I'm going to multiply 4 times 77. 4 times 77 equals 308. I did that on my calculator. First I put in 2 times signs so it didn't come out right. 4 times 77 equals 308. Then if I divide that by 11, divide by this 11, it tells me what number has to go there. And when I divide by 11, it tells me that the question mark is going to equal 28. Now look at this one. This one's set up a little bit differently. The question mark is in a different spot. It doesn't matter where the question mark is. And in the future, instead of a question mark, you might see the letter X right there. Or an A or B or Q or P or some letter instead of a question mark. It means the same thing. If I were going to solve this one, I want to multiply the 2 numbers that are diagonal from each other. In number 3, I multiplied top of the first one times the bottom of the second one. In number 4, if I do that, that's the number that's missing. That doesn't help me. So I'm going to multiply the 15 times the 20. I look for two numbers that are diagonal where both numbers are given. I can't multiply times a number I don't know, so I'm going to multiply these two numbers. I can multiply 15 times 20, and when I multiply 15 times 20, I get 300. Then I'm going to take the 300 and divide by 4, and that tells me that the x, or the question mark, is going to equal 75. Okay, last one, 12 times 35, because they're diagonal from each other, that equals 420. And then I'm going to take the 420 and divide by 7. And that tells me that this number has to be 60. So the question mark equals 60. Now I want you to go on and finish the rest of the page and then have your paper checked and then take your quiz on the computer. I hope that helps you.